Alright, so today I'm working on a four-wheel I just picked up recently in a trade for a snowmobile that I originally traded a four-wheeler for. I've ended up with this. It's an 07 Yamaha YFZ 450. Check the VIN, 10th digit is a 7, so that confirms it's 2007. And it's actually pretty good shape. It's all there, suspension's good, everything seems decently tight. Doesn't seem like it's been beat on all that much. Still has like OEM brake pads. I can't imagine those are original, but the muffler's stock, which is good. There's no like aftermarket parts, except for a Boyson water pump the guy installed. I think he said he was having like a overheating issue at some point, whatever. I don't know. We'll go through this and figure out what's what. But today, basically, I'm working on the valves and getting them shimmed right, because it wasn't running perfect. It was, stuttering at idle, wanting to shut off a little bit, but otherwise seems all right. So I've dealt with these in the past. I actually had this same exact quad a little less than a year ago, and I redid the whole engine, split the cases, changed the crankshaft, cylinder, piston. I've already got everything out, camshafts, got the intake and exhaust, and all the shims are out. They're off a little bit. Let's see, so this is what it should be. I went online, looked this up. With this quad, you don't actually have to. It's convenient. Right in the air box, tells you everything right there. Clearances are a little off. So let's see, the intake has 3 valves, the exhaust has 2. So the exhaust currently measures at around 0.006. It's supposed to be 0.008 to 0.10. So both of these are the same. They're both off. 0.20 mm to 0.25. Clearance is way too small. But basically these are off, and then these actually are within spec. 10 millimeter, 0.10 millimeter, 0.10 millimeter intake, 0.10 millimeter to 0.15. I like to get it in between. I'd actually like to change these a little bit because they're on the tighter side. I'd like to get these to around 12 or 13 to be right nice in the middle. But if it's in spec, my experience, that's fine. It'll run fine. It's just gonna get out of spec quicker. This one is a little off. This one, I mean, I can't tell how off it is. It's my feeler gauges only go down to 0.02, 0.002, and that was not thin enough to get in there. So this one's pretty tight. So we're gonna have to mess around and try different shims and see which ones fit. There's a calculation online. If you have the actual measurements, you can input it all in, but my experience, it's better just to kind of do trial and error, because sometimes you use that calculator, you put in the right shims that you think will fit, and it doesn't always work out right. So what you got to do is just get the shims you think will work, put them in there, lightly tighten down the cam caps and everything, see what it feels like, and then just go back and forth from there. So right now I have all the shims out. These look like these have been replaced before, unless those are stock from the factory. I can't imagine they are though. So we have a good reference point. We can read pretty much each of these. Like I said, okay, so both of these are out of clearance, 181, 180. Then I have a shim kit right here, probably like a Amazon special. And hopefully I have the right shims. I only have one of each size, so hopefully I can make do with what I got. Sometimes you can basically reuse these shims to put over here, move this one over here. So we have to, we got to see. And it's always good to kind of take these and measure them with the calipers just to confirm that they're actually around that size. All right, I got the first round of shims in here, and I now have this at top dead center. Right in here, you'll see a little single eye. If you go to the left, that's not the right one. You want to have it lined up right there, the dot with that one eye. And on the cams, There's a dot right here, and then there should be a dot right there. Same thing, a dot up here, and a dot right there. You can see that dot's right there. That's the one's in a little bit. When this gets to the exact right spot with the chain tensioning being on it, and you can see that dot is flush right there. And that dot is in a hair, actually. I make sure that's not like a tooth off. All right, it's not fun getting these cams and the teeth and the right sprocket with the chain to get perfectly lined up, but we get the dot exactly right there, dot exactly right there. Down here, we are pretty much spot on. We gotta go back a hair right to there, right there. Still lined up, still lined up. So, all right. Now the fun part is now I have to check the shims and see what the clearance is. It's probably not gonna be perfect. I'm probably gonna have to take it all off again. But let's see what they're at. Like I said, this one was way off. So I tried to go a lot smaller to compensate for the possibility of what it was off by, but who knows. These were in spec, but I changed them a little bit to get them right in the middle of the spec. And these are both out of spec, but I should hopefully have them close. So let me check it all. All right, so far so good. So this one before was just really tight. The low end, it's supposed to be 0.04. This is, well, 0.004. And now, smooth. So it's probably like 0.006. So that's perfectly in spec. This one's loose. This one's loose. I'm going to see exactly what they are. This one's a little, it's good still. The problem is it hits the sides. It's such a tight spot. It hits right here and here. So it's really hard to even get a good reading, but that's in there pretty loose. You can see that goes right in there. So let me try the next size up and see. So we're at 0.004. Oh, I got 0.005, 0.006. So it's supposed to be between 10, which is 0.004, and 15, 0.006. Let's see. Let's make sure 0.006 isn't too loose. Okay, this one doesn't even really go in, so we're in spec there. This one feels just perfect. That one honestly feels a hair loose, but let's go the next size up and see if this fits in. Right, this is intake 0.15, this is 0.18. It's hard to focus on that. If this 007 fits in smooth, it's too much of a clearance. So that's tight in there. I think it's good. This one doesn't even want to go in that one. This one won't go in. This one, it goes in, but it's too much drag. So it's like I could go down a hair in size, but I don't. I think it's fine. Just for, okay, 0. Let's just try the next size up, because if this one does go in, then we're too loose on that shim. We got to change it. No, that won't go in at all. So I think we're good. I should go down a hair of a size. But let's see. 0.006 is the top end as to what it should be. You can always put a thicker one in really snug. This one doesn't have a lot of drag on it though. So honestly, it stinks, but I should take this down a hair of a size of a shim. Let's see if I can. So I just put in 1.8. I went from an 8.9 to an 8 because, like I said, it was really tight. I couldn't get anything in there. So an 8, so I got to go down to like a 0.78. I don't have any. That's the problem with this. Is what do I got here? Like I said, 90, 91, 180. Sometimes people shave these, they grind them down. I don't recommend that. That's not the right way to do it. All right, so the carburetor, the main is clean and the main is the right one. The pilot is a 48. Spec stock is 45, so it's not a huge difference. But the idle air, the air of the fuel screw was off. It was too many turns out, so I set it to 1.5 turns out. That's what the book calls for. So now I just need to torque down these properly to I think 10 Newton meters. Get it all back together, carburetor all set up, and then everything timing wise, valves, carburetor should be dialed in. So hopefully it should run better. I'm gonna do all that, put it back together, and then try to fire it up and see how it sounds. All right, I got the whole motor back together, fuel tank on, carburetor. I'm gonna start it up, see how it sounds now. Hopefully it runs a lot better than before, but we'll see. All right, pop the choke out. Okay, let's see. Well, it started much easier, I'll tell you that. The idle might need to be adjusted a little higher. Little knob right here. I think we go clockwise. Yeah. And let's see. Yeah, it definitely started up a lot easier. We got some smoke. That's all just the liquid wrench I sprayed on everything. I sprayed the bolts in the header just in case I gotta take them off at some point. Turn the choke off and see what happens. Shuts off the choke off, so maybe the idle is just set too low. The idle hung a little bit. I think that usually means lean. Weird. The jetting, everything should be on point. Definitely idling better, running better. Still got to fiddle with it a little bit though. All right, so when it got warmed up, I suspect it was running a little lean because there'd be a little idle hang. So it was a 1.5 turns out on the fuel screw. I just went about 3 in a little bit, so that should make it richer, let more fuel in, so hopefully it won't be lean. If that doesn't fix it, I'm gonna have to rejet it differently. But I don't know if this motor hasn't had any like work done to it. If it's not like a big boring like that, you shouldn't really have to, rejet it. It is kind of cold outside. Maybe it's like 40 degrees out, but shouldn't make a huge difference. But I mean, it would run different now than it would at 80 degrees out. So let's try to start up now and see if the idle hang goes away. So it's idling good, but it still has a little bit of a hang. See? I don't know. The hanging's kind of weird. It's not really consistent. It almost seems like carburetor slides on the inside could be a little worn and sticking. That's an issue with these, so I might have to take the whole carburetor apart, just clean everything out and make sure nothing's hanging up. That last little bit seems like it could be hanging, but otherwise it's idling good. So valves are good, starts up really easy now. Idle's fine, but the idle's hanging a little bit, but it feels more like something is hitting, Could be the rollers in the carburetor, could be the cable, could be the spring. There was a mod before on these things where people would cut the spring or put a softer spring in there so the throttle wasn't so hard. So I'm just gonna take the carburetor out. I have a rebuild kit for it, for my last one that I had last year. Go through it, replace anything that needs to be replaced, and check to make sure everything's working properly. Apparently, where the slide goes in, there's a coating in there that you're not supposed to use brake parts cleaner on. You're supposed to use gasoline. So we'll do that. These carburetors are a pain. They're overly complicated. They've got the accelerator pump. They've got they've got like 3 jets in them. There's a lot going on. So I'm gonna take it out, put it in the bench, take it all apart, and probably rejet it a little richer, because the hang idle could mean it's lean. I don't really think it's that lean. It did seem to have a little bit of lag on power, so we will jet it a little richer too. Right now it's got like a 155 main, so we'll try to go like 160, 165 main, whatever we have. I got a ton of jets for this thing. So yeah, let's get this carburetor out. All right, actually I got it out in record time. Got this thing out in like 5 minutes, wasn't that bad. All right, so I got the carburetor all apart. Everything honestly seemed pretty clean inside the top. Doesn't seem like anything was holding up the the cable. I'll have to, you know, put the cable in and check it and see what's going on, but it's everything seems like it's working the way it should be. So what I need to do is I'm going to go up on the jet. This is, if you can see that, this is the 155. All right, so like I said, I have an actual whole carburetor rebuild kit that I had purchased for the last one I had, and this only comes with one main jet. Let's see what this is. This is a 160 main, so that's a little bigger. I want to see if I have like a 165, just to be safe. Another, you know, way you can adjust the mixture ratio on this thing and, you know, lean it out or richen it a little bit is with the down here, the fuel screw. So, but this is super hard to access when it's in the bike. You literally got to take the airbox out and then undo the carburetor and turn it to be able to adjust it. Maybe if you had some weird special tool, whatever. What they make is these. These are easier to adjust because they stick out the bottom of the carburetor. The other one, that stays inside the carburetor. You literally got to put a flathead in there to do it. This one sticks out low so you can adjust it. But I'm taking it a step further to make it even easier to fine tune this thing. And I got one of these bad boys, FlexJet from R&D. These are nice. These, you just put them in and you can adjust it literally on the fly. Super easy. Comes ready to go. Here, look at this. I forget what this was. I'll put it in the screen if I can find out. It was not that expensive. It was probably 30 bucks or something like that. Comes with everything on it, ready to go. Just install it, and that should make adjusting, fine-tuning a little easier. So let me see if I got a bigger jet. Yeah, that kit's got a 165. It's funny, it's a cheap knockoff brand, but it has the same little logo for, I think, Kian or whatever the carburetor brand. Like this one, I don't know if you can see. That is actually Kian. This one is Yamamoto, the one to the right. So, you know, logo is kind of similar. I don't know why you would fake it. I mean, it's a jet. I can't imagine. Oof, thread looks a little different. They should be exactly the same, though. Let's see if they match up. Yeah, they match up. So this other one's just newer. Quick little tip for these fuel screws. Sometimes I get confused as to the orientation of where the little washer and O-ring and the spring's supposed to go. It goes spring, flat washer, then the O-ring. This is how it came out. And also the new Dial-A-Jet or Flex Jet, you know, whatever it's called. Same way. Spring, flat washer, then the O-ring. Sometimes you might mix up. And also, too, when you're taking the other one out of the carb, if you don't got the O-ring in there, it's probably still stuck in there. So carefully, you got to fish it out with a little pick or something like that. I should probably check to see what needle position this should be in. I imagine this is still stock, and I don't really want to mess with that right now. We'll go, put all this back together, see how it runs, and if it's still, you know, not running great, then we'll check that later. But hopefully, making this thing a little richer, easier adjustable fuel screw, and we should be good. All right, I got the carburetor pretty much back together. I got this adjustable jet or adjustable fuel mixture screw right there. This thing, like I said, it's got the bigger jet. I checked the accelerator pump, the diaphragm's good, no tears. So I'm gonna put it back in and see if I can tune it just right. All right, I got the carburetor back in. I'm gonna try to start the engine and see where it's at. I got the bigger jet now, so I need to account for that with the fuel screw adjustment. So let's see if I can get it just right. Seems a little better now. I think I got it tuned just right. Yeah, I think it was probably just a little lean. No, it seems to be going pretty good now. What I did is, I'm not sure if it did anything, but I jumped the TPS. That's a thing that people do with these things. Apparently those, or the Tors, the throttle override system. The Banshees have that too. But I don't know, it seems like it's running pretty good now. When it rides, it goes pretty good. These things don't love going slow. They're made to be high revving. They don't lug like a 400. So yeah, it's running pretty good now. Like I said, I jumped the throttle override system. Most people do that. I'm not sure if it made a difference. I could take it off and try it, but it seemed to be running pretty good for a stock YFZ 450. So yeah, it's running a lot better. I'd say that's pretty much the best I'm gonna get it. It's jetted pretty good. Yeah. Now I just got to piece back together the plastics, put everything back on. I ordered new grips, and there's a Zerk fitting that didn't come on this thing. I got to add one of those, top it off with grease. Trying to think, maybe get a block off plate. Basically though, I'm going to sell this. This is just so I can have, you know, turn around, make some money on it. Yeah, add some bolts on the plastics, but other than that, I mean, everything's pretty much here. It's good. The shocks work pretty good. It's in pretty good shape. So yeah, hopefully this video gives you a couple tips on working on these things. These FCR carbs can be a real pain. They're overly complicated, like the old carbs with just 2 jets, pilot and main, and it goes. These things have 3 jets and an accelerator pump and this and that, but hopefully if the weather gets good in the next few weeks, I'll actually be able to take it for a ride. I think we still got some snow in our trails, but pretty soon it'll be ready to rip. Thanks for watching.